It's like my background looks crazy. Hello, hello. I'm just gonna wait till more people get in, and then I'm gonna go on Instagram. Yeah, Samaya's in the um, background. Papa dashboard. I have never went live on my computer before. Hi everybody. Hi. How are you guys doing? I've never been live on my laptop before, so this is different. Hello everybody. Hey. How are you guys doing on this beautiful Sunday? How are we doing on this beautiful Sunday? Can you guys hear me okay? Let me know if you guys can hear me. Yes? Yes? Okay. Cool. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about feeling is the secret. Because yesterday in my group that we have, I'm great. You went live. How are you? We can hear you by the way. Yes, thank you. I'm doing well. Today's my birthday. So today is my birthday and I wanted to spend it talking to you guys. So thank you so much for sharing my birthday with me. And really, I'm just really grateful. I feel like the last year has taught me so much about myself, about working with like the law. And you're in the frame. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Oh, let me get on because I wanted to go live also on Instagram because I'm trying to be the type of girly that can do both. You know what I mean? Um, ooh, I got on this shirt. It's like crop top shirt. But yeah, I really wanted to talk about just this year and how it has really shaped the law for me. I feel like this year working with the law of assumption, I feel like I finally got it down pat. Like, I mean, not perfection, right? Of course, but I feel like I finally understand what it means, like by feeling is the secret, and how that really is the key. It's really like it's as simple as feeling your end state and staying in that feeling. As long as you can stay in that feeling, magic is just get prepared for the magic, prepare for the abundance that you are looking for. So, and I know that's so many people that struggle with feeling is this like they struggle with that component, right? They'll feel it real, and then you're looking into your external world, and it's like, oh my god, like I feel it, but hi Instagram. I am on live on YouTube and I want to be live on here. And today we're talking about feeling is the secret and how it really is like the secret. It really is the secret to getting everything that you want. Thank you. So, and most people, I would say, they struggle with feeling is the secret because they're trying to feel from their same identity, which is why they're like, okay, well, let me just change my thoughts. And like changing your thoughts, sure, it will help. Samaya is not happy right now. Changing your thoughts, like, sure, it will help, but when you really want to rest in the end, okay, she's not happy. Samaya is not happy. Hi, Instagram. I am on YouTube right now. It says chat disconnected. I don't know what happened. Samaya. Samaya was not very happy. I'm probably gonna have to feed her pretty soon. But when you really like go beyond the identification, and not just necessarily try to change your thoughts, because that's only going to get you so far. Because you've been programmed, right? You've been thinking the same thing for more than I feel like most of you guys. Thank you so much for happy birthday. Thank you. Most of you are over the age of 18. So to have habits that for 18 plus years, to just try to think over them, it's only going to get you so far. It's only going to get you so far. So that's why it's important to feel it real, to go into the state of, well, what does it feel like if I have my desire now? Right? How many of you are with me? When you've been told, hi, love, how are you? When you've been told to feel it real, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna go to my end state and I'm gonna feel it, and then something happens in the 3D, something happens in your external world that complete like now you're focusing on the lack, and now you're focusing on how it's not working out. So now you're in a completely different feeling, in a completely different vibration, right? How many of you guys can relate to that? To having an intention to feel it real, and like you are really earnest in your intention, but then you go into the world and then it knocks you off. So then what usually happens is that most people, they will say, okay, well, let me start affirming for myself. Let me start, doing all these spiritual practices to get myself centered, and so I can stop becoming triggered so much. And while these things work, what's even better than any spiritual practice you will find is just knowing thyself. It's just to know who you truly are. Because who you truly are, you don't have to work hard to feel who you are, because you're already it. It's just your thoughts. Your thoughts are telling you that you're not. It's like, oh, I'm this, I'm, thoughts, they're very tricky. They're very tricky. So y'all know y'all stories more than me. But they're constantly feeding you these narratives about how it's not working out, how, it's you have all this doubt. You're focusing on how let's say with a person, you're focusing on how the person isn't changing. You're focusing on how the money isn't there. You're focusing on how the opportunity, you can't see the opportunities. But that's just your thoughts. That's just your thoughts. Then once you get to the point, you just want to feel all the sensations in the body. Exactly. Because all sensations and all perceptions, they're just coming and going in the field of what you actually are. So you don't have to work hard to feel this way. And that's why people, they start going into the affirmations, because they're like, I'm going to talk myself into this feeling. But it's so much more simpler than that. It's like even more simple, because who you are, the true you. Yeah, the baby, the pain. You start listening to yourself. Yes, you can get triggered. Yes, I can get triggered when I don't see things happening in 3D. But I remind myself, imagination is just real, not more. Imagination is all there is. Imagination is all there is, right? Because everything that we see, it's being filtered through the lens of imagination. That's all that exists is imagination. So you don't have to talk yourself. Hi, Samaya. You don't have to talk yourself into feeling abundant, into feeling worthy, into feeling whole. You just got to see who you truly are. How many of you know? Thank you so much. Thank you. How many of you know that you are consciousness? How many of you know that your true nature is consciousness? Or, dare I say it, God? Or the universe? Or the all? However you refer to it. How many of you truly know that? Or is that just a belief? Okay, I see some hands. I love that. You're wrapping your mind around the fact. so she know, like babies know. Babies come in knowing the truth, right? They come in knowing, and then that inner dialogue starts. And then when that inner dialogue starts, it starts, oh, I'm separate, right? How many of you remember when you became conscious and you started to recognize that you were separate from your environment? Sometimes I just want to practice choiceless awareness. I feel like things happen so much faster. Exactly. When you are practicing choiceless awareness, it happens so much faster. But how many of you remember that moment when you became conscious, right? Because babies, because they don't have that inner dialogue of I am here and the rest of the world is there, there's this knowing that it's all them, right? They have no idea about separation. 5 years old, okay, 5 years old. I don't remember how old I was, but I remember distinctly looking in the mirror, and I was trying to like put my hand behind the mirror because I was trying to get to whatever was in the mirror, and I realized that the mirror was doing the same thing as me. And I said, wait, and I looked, and this is my first memory, and I don't remember how old I was, maybe like 3 or 4. And I looked in the mirror, and I was trying to put my hand behind it because I'm trying to get to the person in the mirror. And of course, at 2 or 3, I didn't have a thought like, oh, that's me. But it was just like this, oh, like this, the thing is doing exactly what I'm doing. And from then on, I was like conscious. I was like, oh, I'm here in this body. And then it seemed like from then I was just like always trying to go back to the what I knew, right? To this intuitive knowing that it was all me. It seems like it's like that's been my spiritual journey, and I'm constantly looking for myself in circumstances. I'm looking for myself in people. I'm looking for myself in recognition and in acknowledgement. Hi, Alexandria. Hi, Alexandria. Hi. Right? I'm constantly looking for myself, just trying to go back to this oneness, because that's why you want what you want. It's not necessarily because of the object itself, but because of how it feels, because it's going to bring back this sense of wholeness, right? When you get what you desire, what really happens is that the mind becomes less active. So when the mind is less active, it's not reminding you of your separation as much. You forget that you're separate from everything when the mind isn't constantly yapping. So that's why we want our desires, because when we get them, we pay less attention. Somebody, you all in the camera. When we get our desires, hold on, y'all. Let me put her down. I'm sorry, Mama girl. Here, you want your cup? You want your cup? Here. Okay. When you get your desires, what usually happens is that you pay less attention to the thoughts that's like, oh, I need, I want, you know, I feel less than, I don't feel worthy, I don't feel this. And then you start focusing, you're in the present moment until what? And then what happens usually? We get what we want, and even if you're not like consciously manifesting it, let's just say you get a new car or you move someplace new, what usually happens? What usually happens? It becomes normal. It becomes normal, and then you start desiring something else. And then the process just restarts. And the process is never ending. The process of desiring is never ending. Never ending. So it's not about the desire itself. It's this longing to know who you truly are. It's this longing to stop being so identified with your mind. It's this longing for the truth that we had when we were babies, right? For this truth that everything is just the self. Because in that, it feels whole, it feels complete. You don't feel lack. You don't feel this need to like prove yourself, to prove your worth. You don't, all of that, it just doesn't come up. Hi, Donata. Yes. All of that, it just doesn't come up. So we're thinking that it's the desires that we want, but the desires are just helping us go back to that sense of wholeness. So what if we start there? What if we start in the wholeness? And the beautiful thing about it is that we have never not been it. We have always just had a misidentification problem. Yes, Amaya. It's always just been a misidentification problem. We have never not been whole. We have never not been everything. We have just been identified with our thoughts that are saying, I am here, I am this, and you are that. You got to go back to the I am. Just go back to the I am and rest there, right? And this is why I always talk about self-inquiry, to constantly question the self. Hi, Ari's world. Hi. To constantly question, who am I? Who am I? Because when you ask that question enough, something opens, and something opens within you where you start to pay more attention to what you are not, which means like I am, like, and this is why I think it's Sanskrit. They have this neti neti. Have you guys ever heard of that term? Neti neti, not this, not that. Neti, 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 right? You keep saying that because you are turning your attention away from what you're not. It's just this tool. I'm not this, not this, not that. When the thoughts come up, neti, neti, you neti, none of this can describe who I am because anything that I say about who I am creates a limit, creates a bound, and there are no limits. There are no bounds. Yes, Alan Watts. I love Alan Watts. I love Alan Watts. Right. This is like wildly known, I would say, and I'm not. I won't act like I'm super educated to know about it, but like wildly known in Eastern philosophies, where in Western philosophies we primarily focus on the identification of the self, but in Eastern philosophies it's like known that the self is just what's appearing, right? It's just the vehicle that's driving the individual. Samaya, what's the matter? Yeah, you want me to talk to you? Yeah, I'm not giving her enough attention. So again, when we talk about feeling is the secret, you don't have to do anything to feel what you are. Starting from wholeness, you start from it. You start from it, and then all of your desires become an expression of it. So that way, when you do get your desires, like one, you're not putting them on a pedestal, right? Because you're not needing this thing in order to feel or in order to be perceived in a certain way. It's simply just an expression. Like everything is an expression. So when you see that everything is an expression, I could just choose which expression I want, and I don't have to make one expression more noble than another. They're all just expressions, like a rainbow, right? Would you say red is better than green? I mean, maybe if you have a preference, right, you say red is better than green. But like inherently, it's all light, just appearing differently based on like how it's being. I don't know. I feel like I'm doing this because it's like angle of light and like how it's vibrating. Like that's the only thing that makes it change. Okay, Samaya. That's the only thing that makes it change. So it's like important to do that with your desires as well, right? You take them off the pedestal. You recognize that you don't have to search for the feeling that will come from having what you want because you're already it. You are already abundant. The prism, yes, there you go. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But you are already abundant. You are already enough. You are already whole. You are already loved. That's your nature. When you turn your attention just right now, right? Turn your attention towards what is it that's aware. So like you are aware of what you're watching me, but what is it that's aware? I know she want to be held all the time. That's okay, but she's a baby. It's like very subtle that we don't pay attention to it. But what is it that's aware? And the more you turn your attention to that, like and you see like what are the qualities of this awareness? Like what are the qualities of what you use to see, and not your eyes, but like the qualities of awareness itself? Spacious, no bounds. It doesn't even really come with an image. Like you can't even frame it because to frame it, you're putting it in a box. It's so spacious, it's vast, and that's what we all are. So when we identify with that, with this limitless vastness, expansive, whole, like when we start to identify with that, and we always have access to it, it's just by turning our attention towards it and turning our attention away from the sense world, which Neville always says, right? Neville says, take your attention from the senses. I don't know what he said 100%, but like just take your attention away from the senses because it's old. It's the world of Caesar, and turn your attention towards consciousness because or Neville would say imagination. Turn your attention towards imagination. All these words can be like interchanged because that's what's creating your experience. So yes, thoughts are the tools that's going to help you like filter through consciousness, and that's why I never deny thoughts. I never say, oh, it's not important what you think. But when you are first starting out, most people will start out with, let me change my thoughts so I can feel better. Where it's like, no, just remember who you are. And then when you remember who you are, And then from there, I mean, the thoughts just get signaled to you because you're vibrating on that frequency. Am I making sense? If I'm not making sense and y'all want me to clarify something, please do. Because sometimes I talk as if like people can understand what's going on in my head, and I know that it's not like landing. So like, is there anything that is like really not clicking, or like you need a little bit like more clarification on? Because like that would definitely help me figure out like how best to get this truth to you. Yes, the thoughts will change, right? Because we're just a signal. So and this is and I don't want to get too woo woo, but um, there is no one that's thinking thoughts, and that's another thing, right? We're literally just receivers. We're receiving thoughts based on our vibration, and where does our vibration come from? How we feel, and and people are trying to like start from the top down when you could just start from the bottom up, which you have a stronger foundation, right? So the top down is let me think so I can change my feelings. Right. Let me think positive thoughts so I can change my feelings so that I can change my world. Not that that doesn't work, but that's the top down, where it's like, let me remember who I am. From remembering who I am, my feelings, I become aware. Okay. Okay. Oh, my lovey, lovey. Oh, staying in the state. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by staying in the state? Question mark. Okay, hold on. Let me put this up so I can feed her. Sorry, Instagram. Sorry, I'm on like Instagram too. What? Kim, I don't want to say her name wrong. What do you mean by staying in the state? But yeah, so the bottom up approach. Um. Okay, so okay, let's eat. Sorry, Instagram. I gotta feed her, and y'all can't see me on here, so I can feed her just fine. um. Bottom up is knowing who you are. Feelings will change because you start to place your attention on who you actually are. You start to recognize it, and then from there, thoughts change. That's a much easier process than trying to change your thoughts to feel different. Much easier. But where's the border from being delusional? Well, I'm not sure what you mean by where's the border. Can you ask that another way, Marie? Maybe it's just me. The border from being delusional. My background is a mess. I'm sorry, Instagram. And I'm feeding my daughter. So I would say most people think that it's delusional because they don't understand like that consciousness creates reality. So if you can think it, you can have it. I was listening to Dr. Joe Dispenza, and the work that he's doing is truly magnificent. And what he teaches is to go beyond the self, right? He always says to go to that space where there is no one, where there is nobody, where there's only the infinite potentiality, which is just awareness. Like staying in a state and being imaginative versus being delusional. You mean like when you are moving through like the 3D and you are like having to hold the faith even though your circumstances are like totally different. And are you asking like how do you navigate that? How do you navigate holding the state while still dealing with your past self? It's difficult. It's practice. I would just say practice. There's going to be a lot of resistance because it feels very silly. But anything when you learn it the first time, it's a skill. So when you learn anything for the first time, it's a lot of resistance because you don't really know how to do it. But you just keep practicing, right? And it's something that I ask myself because a lot of times it's just like a closed heart. So like when that's happening, I just say like, how can I open my heart more? Which means like, how can I trust more? How can I surrender more? Right? So like, can you give me an example? Give me an exact example, and then I feel like I would be able to help you out specifically with like a circumstance that you have because I don't want to be too broad, and I feel like your question would help other people as well, right? Not getting triggered by it. Practice, like it really does come down to practice. It comes down to practice to putting your attention on what is it that's aware and not on awareness itself. Hi Gigi Tater Tots, just practice, really. because I mean, I had an incident earlier where, my thoughts, they were, and again, let me not be too vague. I'll hold that thought. I'll remember. So I just asked the question, but I'll give you guys an example of how that just happened for me. Any tips for not getting so caught up with thoughts, ego resistant, embodying who you are? Okay, that kind of goes with what I was just saying. Practice. It really does come down to practice, and the more you practice it, the easier it becomes, right? And having grace with yourself when you don't get it right, when you are still caught up in the ego. So earlier, I had just got out the shower and my daughter was crying and her dad had her. And he like brought her to me, and I was like very annoyed by that. Like, why you bring her to me? I just got out the shower. Like, you can keep her. Like that. That's I don't. It just like annoys me. Like, let me have a minute to myself. Um. So he just walked out the room, and I had her, and she was crying, and I was like, he's so inconsiderate. He's so this, right? And then I caught it. So the first thing is like to catch whatever you're thinking, whatever your circumstance is. That's why I said if you guys can give me like a circumstance and I can give you a great example of how to deal with it. But like for this instance, right? I saw the thoughts that I was thinking. He's so inconsiderate. He doesn't care. Da da da. So then I said, no, no, no. That's a story. Change the story, Taylor. So then changing the story, I was like, wait a minute, right? So first I caught it, right? I caught what was going on. And then I immediately wanted to change the story. But even that wasn't comfortable, right? Because in the body, what I was feeling was true. Like I was feeling annoyed about by what was going on, and I was feeling triggered. There was triggering of not, I don't feel respected. Like right now, I don't feel respected. So first I try to change my thought because that's what we're primed to do, right? Whenever you come to these teachings, change your thoughts. So I will say that I did try to change my thoughts first, but then I realized that's not the way because my body is not agreeing with this. How can I get my body and my mind to come together? So then I said, wait a minute, remember who you are. So then I just became aware of what was going on. I became aware of what I was thinking. I became aware of the feelings in my body. And then I said, this is it, right? Just to sit with that. But then it goes back and forth because I want to feel so validated in what I'm thinking, right? I want to be right. But I'm right though. Like what I'm feeling is true. I don't want to bypass my feelings. When you are just resting as who you are, you're not bypassing. You're just observing. You're observing, you're creating space. So the feelings were being acknowledged and they were felt, and then they passed. So then I said, okay, from here, how do I move through this? Act like nothing happened. Act like nothing's wrong, right? Act as if how you have imagined this person is the truth. That's difficult. That's difficult to go into the world, especially with other people. Like I said, I don't know y'all circumstances, but especially with other people, to go into the world and to treat them how you see them in your imagination. But that's the work. That's the work, right? That's the work. So how can I open my heart more? How can I release this? How can I go into this with an open, with an open heart? And whatever comes up, you do the best that you can. So from there, I came out here and then kept taking my attention to I am, right. I'm just the awareness. I'm like just to simply observe, and then the energy settles. The energy settles. This is an energetic game that we're playing, more so than a thought game. This is definitely an energetic game that we're playing. So that's how I would deal with circumstances. But it's a fight. I saw a guy asking for money on the street, and at first I felt bad for him, but I shifted my thoughts and said to myself, "That guy is rich." Then immediately after, two people gave him money. I love that. I love that. There you go. You chose to see the abundance. That's already there. You took your attention off of lack. Pertaining to Maurice, let's say I want to manifest a house. How does one stay in a state and be imaginative without being delusional? So what would be delusional for you if you're just staying in the state of like how it feels? So like feeling is the secret. So how would it feel for you to have that house? What feelings would come up? Gratitude, maybe, security, joy, peace, stability. Like what are the feelings that would come up if that were true now? And about what about staying in those feelings is delusional? So maybe you say, okay, I want to manifest the house, and like, okay, sure, staying in the feeling, but my circumstances are, maybe I don't have enough money for the house, right? So how am I supposed to stay in gratitude when the money isn't there? Maybe that's your question. I'm not sure. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but maybe that's the question. How do I stay in gratitude when the feelings aren't there? And the best way to do that is to just continue to focus on what you're grateful for. How can you shift your attention away from what you lack, like Gigi did, GGS Tater Tots did, took their attention away from the lack and focused on abundance. That's not delusional. It's you just shifting your awareness. You just shifting your perspective, shifting where you're looking from. How's that, Black Jesus? Or did you want me to go a little bit more? Seeing the best in someone is beautiful in theory, but everyone has their own free will to decide to be the best version of themselves or not. Okay. I mean, I don't want to go into the whole free will. Do you guys want to go into the whole free will thing? What Everything is running off of conditioning. People don't have free will because they're not. Most people aren't conscious. And here's the thing, and that's totally okay. But consciousness, most people are just operating. They're just operating on the system. That's it. They're just operating. So like even you, Grace, like I hear what you're saying, but even you, have you ever said to yourself, like, I'm gonna do something, and like you really set the intention to like change or to put in a new habit or whatever the case may be, but then you go back to your old conditioning. Even when it comes to manifestation, right? A lot of us, we say like, I'm gonna keep my eye on the abundance off of the lack, and then we revert back to that. I feel like if people were truly conscious, people would be living the way that they wanted to live. People are not conscious. I'm like, it's hard work to remain conscious all the time, which is why it's important to input good information into the subconscious, so that when you are just running off of your programming, it's to your benefit. But most people, I would say mostly everybody, unless you're like fully enlightened, and I feel like when you fully enlightened, then you can do anything, right? You on like Jesus level, Christ consciousness, where you are like really healing the sick in instances, and you turning water to wine, and whether you believe in that or not, right? Neville always said it's like a psychological book. It's a book to show our potential. So whether you believe in it or not, or you believe that it's a state of like what's possible for us, it's about becoming conscious. And I would say most people are not. We are not as conscious as we believe we are. We are not as free as we think we are. If we are, right, if you believe that you are as free as you think you are, I challenge you to only think what you want to think for an hour. I say an hour. Do an hour. Test yourself to see how conscious you are. Tell yourself, I'm only going to, or even say to yourself, I'm not going to think at all. Say, I'm not going to think at all. I'm only going to focus on my breath for an hour. For 10 minutes. Do it for 10 minutes. See if you can do it. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Because we are not as conscious as we believe we are. It's something that we work towards. Because and it's just because we've been conditioned to like identify with our thoughts, and like the thoughts are just constantly going. First of all, it's actually very neurotic to always be thinking, to always be narrating reality. That's like, when we talk about people who are talking to themselves in public, right? Oh my God, they're talking to themselves. They're talking out loud. We're always talking to ourselves. That is a very neurotic behavior. But because it's normal and because everybody else does it, we don't think there's anything wrong with it. But that's not the way to truly live. The way to really live is to allow reality to talk to us, to allow reality to speak to us. When we're constantly speaking, which is just me narrating reality, we're putting it in boxes, which means we already know what is, we're making it the known. And if it's the known, that means we just go keep getting the same thing over and over. because we know so much. We know what's about to happen. We know what that is. We know what we have all these names and labels, and we compartmentalize in reality. We give it no room for the mystery, no room for the unknown. And that's what happens when we're constantly thinking and we're so identified with our thoughts. So I mean, back to that free will. If that helps you to think that we really have free will, then you know whatever whatever helps you. But I challenge that. I challenge that a lot. Um, Reality is in the eye of the beholder, in my opinion. That's good. I was hoping to help Maria out with her question. I hope it helped. I manifested an energy drink. That's what's up. I thought watermelon Jolly Ranchers would be a perfect energy drink. It would be great if they existed. Then literally the next door I was at I love when that happens. Synchronicities. It's amazing. It's amazing, and it just shows you the interrelationship between yourself and reality, and it shows you that you are just creating it, right? Well, really, you're experiencing it through the filter of your mind, which is why your thoughts are important. Your thoughts are important because you are experiencing reality through the filter of your mind. So if you go in a forest and you know what a tree is, you know what a leaf is. Let's even take it a step further. You know the different types of leaves. You cannot see a forest the same way that a baby does, or you cannot see the forest the same way that somebody that has no idea what all these different components are. You are always going to see it through your lens of your knowledge. So we are constantly seeing reality through the lens of knowledge. But that's only one part of the story. Other people can do what they choose regardless of what I believe they will do. Okay. I mean, and this is the thing, right? Yes, and as long as we live in this dualistic world, which dualism gives us the idea of separation, dualism gives us the idea that I am here and you are over there, then that's true. That other people can do what they choose, regardless of what you believe, right? Because you are identifying as yourself with your thoughts and Grace, or I don't know, I'm not sure if that's her name, but yes, that's so true. But we're talk. Let's go a step above the identity. Let's go a step above being who we think we are, just as consciousness. What choice is being had? It's so interesting because when it comes to everything else, we can accept that it's just going with the flow of life, right? We can accept that a tree has no will of its own. A tree is just being a tree. Um, a rock has no will of its own. A rock is just being a rock. But when it comes to people, because of how identified we are with our mind, when it comes to people, we're like absolutely they are choosing. They are the ones that's making it happen. Even though nothing else is their choosing, right? We don't turn on our eyesight. Do you have like a special button on you that turns on you're not making yourself hear, are you? Do you make your hair grow? Do you make your nails grow? Are you making your heart beat? All of these things are so automatic. But for some reason, when it comes to simple decisions, and it's just the identification with the mind, because the mind is saying, I am doing this, all of a sudden there's will there. And again, I'm not denying will. I'm just saying to just explore it. Thank you, thank you. So I'm not like negating what you're saying. I'm just saying to explore that concept and to really see who you are. See who you are beyond just your thoughts. And then start to look in the idea of will. Start to look in the idea of if other people have will. It's interesting. It's interesting. Multiple realities exist all the time. You just need to focus on your version. Exactly. And that's what I always tell people. So because I come from a non-dual background, right, where non-duality is like there is no self, right? There's only consciousness, and there is no I, right? The I is just a thought. It's just an afterthought after what's happening. Also, they did a study where they put up some stuff to people's minds, and they said raise your right hand or your left hand. And before they raised their hand, the computer knew which hand they were going to raise. But to them, they were like, oh no. I'm not going to tell you which hand I'm going to raise. But the look it up. This is a study. They were able to tell. They were able to predict what these people in this test study were going to do before they did it. So again, this just goes back to this idea of will. I also lived very delusionally for years. It wasn't, but see, people to the law of assumption doesn't ask anybody to live delusional. I feel like because delusional has just become this like a buzzword, this buzzword in the spiritual space that people are like running with it. But nobody's saying to live delusionally. We're saying to seek the truth, the truth beyond just your mind. And it's not comfortable. And I know you say you've been exploring these concepts for years, but I'm curious to know, have you ever gone beyond your thoughts? Have you ever gone beyond your perceived world? And this is not something that you have to like do because it's how you're seeing. Let me ask you this, Grace. And I always ask people this question. Do you remember being 5 years old, Grace? Okay, so you have gone beyond. So that's interesting. So for you to have gone beyond, how do you still have so much trust and faith in anything in reality having a will outside of the will of God, let's just say? How does anything have will outside of the will of God? Because when you go beyond the self, it's very clearly seen that the self is just a construct. It's just a thought. Absolutely, you should definitely live from your intuition, right? I encourage it. That's why I always say, find out for yourself. Like I never tell, don't listen to me, y'all. Like don't listen to me. I mean, listen to me if you resonate, but at the end of the day, like I want people to find this out for themselves. Like don't just listen to me because it's like, oh, this sounds cool. Like no, go find out for yourself what's beyond beyond your mind and your body. That awareness, right? Really, and you're always it. Like I said, if you can remember being 5, if you can remember being 10, if you can remember being 15. How can you say that any of those were you? Because at that time you would say, oh, this is me. I am whatever your name is. This is my age. This is what I like to do. This is my favorite food, right? It's a storyline that goes along with every time there's a shift in your life. Even from a week ago, if I say, do you remember a week ago? You will remember. But what you're remembering with, which is just the awareness, the same awareness that you have in your dreams, that awareness is eternal. That awareness is not bound to any thoughts or any systems, anything that it can perceive. It is just simply shining a light on it. That's it. So anything that we say, like, and this is what people become very identified with who they think they are, because it's hard. This is a difficult truth. This is a very uncomfortable truth. So most people run from it. They'll get really close to seeing this, and it becomes very uncomfortable, which is why people have a hard time when they're like, if they do a certain amount of psychedelics, and the ego starts to like they have an ego death. This is what's referred to as a bad trip. People can't surrender and they can't let go of who they think they are. So the mind just starts going really, really crazy, and they can't take their attention off of the fact that they are just that. So they hold on tight, and that holding on is what creates a bad trip. And I would say that most people are having bad trips right now. They can't see heaven because they're having bad trips. But if only they could let go of who they think they are, then they will see the truth. And this is not delusion. It's not delusion when it's who you are. I feel like, and again, the delusion is like this buzzword. It's a buzzword. that people are saying, be delusional. And I get it, and I know there's no harm behind it, but there's nothing delusional about accepting that imagination creates reality. There's not. I feel like it's more delusional to accept that we are just this limited self that we are aware of. It's more delusional to believe that we are just this, even though it's convincing. It's very convincing, but that's delusion. It's like the snake in a rope thing. You know how when like if you're super far away from something and you can't really see what it is, your mind start playing tricks on you. Oh, it's this, and then it creates real fear within the body, real fear. But then you get closer up to it, and you see it's just a rope, and all of that dissipates. That's what happens when you become aware of who you are. It's all this fear of being a separate self, and like everybody else being separate, and everybody is like on their own path and all this other stuff, right? But then when you see very clearly that God is everything is just God and drag, all of that goes away. But because we've been conditioned and it's a habit to keep identifying with ourselves, we just keep going back to it. It's just very habitual. I'll say my first and last name is this or does that, but I am is still writing the experience for that individual. Exactly. I am. What's that verse in the Bible? Before Abraham was, I am. Before Abraham was, I am. Because I am is the name. I am is who we all are. When I imagine what I want, it seems like it's coming from the intellect. But and that's why I said it's like this and right, this and because we work with the intellect in order to, or seemingly, this is a. I would say you come across a lot of contradictions when you start to really go beyond because everything is this and it's like not black and white at all. It's like because when you go at when you rise out of duality and you're in non-dual, everything exists, right? There is no this or that. It's this and that. The grand paradox. So it seems like we are this, and then we work with our minds in order to shape our realities. But that's just a play, and like play with it absolutely, while knowing that it's all just taking care of itself. And it's that knowing that it's all just taking care of itself that allows you to detach, that allows you to not become so obsessed or put things on pedestals. Just knowing that you are simply the observer watching it all go down. I also like the example of like a TV screen. We are the TV screen. What's appearing on the TV screen is this experience right now. Like just how I'm on the screen right now, that we forget about the screen. But without the screen, the experience wouldn't exist. But when the images come on the screen, we forget about the screen, right? You're not paying attention to the screen. You're paying attention to what's on the screen, which is me. So the screen goes into the background. But the screen, in order for this experience to be had, the screen has to be there. So all I'm suggesting is to just take the attention to the screen. To take the attention away from what we see and go back to the wholeness that's given this the light, that's given this animation. That's why I believe creation and evolution are both true. It's just chicken and the egg, the yin and the yang. Yeah, yin and yang are dual, but ultimately both one. Exactly. It's I forgot who said it. I know I put the quote in one of my videos, but it's like, can you hold two perspectives at once? So we don't make decisions for real. From one lens, no. From another lens, yes. So I would say most of our decisions come from what we are aware of, because there's infinite realities, and all of these realities are going down a track. It's already been written. It's already unfolded. So based on which reality we are aware of, when we're on that track, it's just taking care of itself. It's all just taking care of itself. So I would say most of our decisions just come from where we are placing our awareness. That's like the most power that we have, is what we are becoming, what we are aware of. And even then, I would say that's grace. Because why is it that some people get this and some people don't? Why is it that this clicks for some people and it doesn't click for some people? Grace. and we don't have no control over that. So I mean, again, it's just holding these two ideas at once. Can you expand more on how feelings are the secret? Because feelings are the magnetism, right? Because we live in a vibrational reality. Everything is vibrating because everything is just atoms. And again, this is just knowledge. So everything is vibrating. Everything is just simply atoms. Hi, I'm on live on YouTube, on Instagram. That's why I'm not looking over here. But everything is just simply atoms vibrating. And based on the frequency that it's vibrating at is going to depend on like how we interact with it. This is like all science stuff. I'm not going to pretend like I know all the science behind it. However, from experience, when you can get into the feeling of what it would be like to have your desire. So somebody said a house. If you can get into the feeling of what it would be like to have the house, you are now going to magnetize to you, right? Like magnets, you are now going to become an optimal frequency for that reality where you have the house. So if you could just stay in that feeling, stay in the feeling of gratitude or joy or security or safety, whatever the feeling is that you get from having the house, magic will start to happen. Reality will start to rearrange itself. Or what's really happening is you are just becoming aware of the version of you where you're already living that. Because again, and this goes into like time doesn't exist. There's so many like components to this, but like to just keep it as simplistic as possible. What would it feel like? Let me just ask y'all this. What would it feel like if you had your desire? What would it feel like? And your now your objective, your goal is for the rest of eternity, I would say, is to keep your attention on that feeling. And what I'm suggesting is because most teachers will say the way you get to that feeling is by thinking positive thoughts and you'll feel that way. What I'm suggesting is that you don't have to think positive thoughts because you are already that. You are already what you seek. So all you got to do is turn your attention to what is it that's aware. And then you'll have the feeling. Because most people, what all it comes down to is that they want to feel whole, like this feeling of like wholeness or worthy. They want to feel like they want to be at peace. They want to feel love. They want to feel understood, right? And all of this can just get wrapped up into like feeling whole and loved. And that's our nature. Man, y'all know what I want to pull up? Y'all should check out like Rupert Spira or Muji. Let me pull up because Rupert has a very beautiful way of saying this. I've met him once. He's a really beautiful guy, and you could tell. You know, you get around people and you can feel that like there's this center to them that just knows. Being completely available at every moment, under all conditions. I mean, yeah, I was trying to look for a quote, but he's pretty much saying that you love Muji Grace. Okay, so Grace, you know what? Because what I feel like even with Muji, right? It's very he'll very much say very subtly, because this is a shock to a lot of people, that there's only God, right? Let's just keep it PG. There's only like God, there's only consciousness. So like Muji says that. Shifting timelines is like shifting tracks on a railroad. Yeah, you just determining which road you're going down. What happens if someone has a belief about death? Like, I believe I'll never die. Does that mean they're going to stay immortal? We have never been born and we will never die. Who we truly are. The body will the body doesn't even die. The body just gets recycled, right? The body decomposes, it goes into the ground, and then it becomes maybe food for the bugs, or it becomes something else. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It's just simply recycled. So what dies? What dies is an idea. That's and that's all it is. It's this the thoughts in our head that's convincing us that we are it, that's shaping our reality. Really, it's just a thought. It's just a sensation like every other sensation. And you can start to test this in your reality. That's why I say do self-inquiry. Constantly question the self. Who am I? Who am I? Aiming for neutral is more useful than trying to force positivity or staying stuck in negativity. I agree. I agree. And you know what? I would say what's neutral is just turning your attention to who you truly are. Turning your attention to being spacious awareness, consciousness. I say all these words interchangeably, right? God, awareness, consciousness. I say all these. I'm pointing to the same thing when I'm saying these things. But like that is wholeness. That's acceptance. When you really place your attention on there without a thought saying I'm in lack or I need or anything like that, you have no way of knowing that you are separate from the rest of your world. It just seems like one seamless happening. That's it. It's just like one. And if you can even start to practice this, like in your reality, like look around the room and your mind's going to come up and it's going to say, oh, this is this, or this is this, or it's going to like talk about a story, or it's just like your mind's constantly going. But the more you meditate and you just start to practice, like taking your attention towards what's aware and not necessarily your thoughts themselves, you'll see that there's no way without your mind, there's no way of knowing that anything is separate. You have no way of knowing that you are over there and I am over here, except for you think that, and then there's this physical sensation that feels very localized in the body that you are there. But when you can see it, that's just a sensation that's appearing in awareness. And without thoughts that says my awareness is just sensations. That's it. My voice is just a sensation, the same way you hear a bird chirping. It's just a sensation. Your thoughts are just a sensation that's rising and falling in who you are. Like when you stop taking ownership of these things, you see that there really is no separation between you and your reality. And it's the coolest thing ever, but it's also very scary for the conditioning, for the conditioned self. It feels like death. People say, oh, I'm afraid to die. Who's afraid to die? Who you are has never been born and has never died. It's just your mind. Tips when you are not good at creating feelings out of nowhere. Example for the house. I want to feel like the house feels normal. I don't even want to think about it. It just is. When you are not good at creating feelings out of nowhere, I would say turn your attention to who you are. That's what I'm. If you could just like have this, I would say check out Muji. They do this much better than me. They do this much better than me. Like Muji, Rupert Spira, Alan Watts. Who's another good one? I would even say Tony Parsons. He's a very radical non-dualist, but it just talks about how everything is this, the feeling that you're looking for. So the tips for, you don't have to create the feelings. You are the feeling. You are the feeling that you're looking for. Like you don't have to create it. I just realized something kind of funny. We don't actually know how a situation is going to make us feel. We can only guess, assume. Exactly. We have no idea how it's going to make us feel. We can only guess and assume, which is why I always say just take your attention to what you truly are. So maybe we just focusing on how we want to feel. Okay, I like that. And how do we want to feel? I like that. Yeah. I'm gonna post this live when it's done. Don't go to Tony. Wait. Why don't you like Tony? I feel like Tony is definitely very. I feel like Tony is very radical, very radical. Um, but I mean, I think his message is still valid. I mean, he pretty much says there's nothing to do. There is no self. It's all just happening. Give it up. Give up the search. Give up the seeking. Which I feel like searching and seeking is like trying to manifest. Too disembodied for me. Very, yeah, it is. It's very like that. That's why I say radical, right? You have very radical non-dualists, which I think can help to jolt people, because for me that's what it did. It jolted me into, like, it was this, like this. I mean, I can't even explain it. I can't even put the words in it, but it jolted me, and then I found my own way to and embody this truth, if that even makes sense, right? Coming from the non-dual space. Maybe that's not your true desire state. I don't know. You and I always tell people that sometimes to just go to, like you were saying, a feeling. Like how do you want to feel? But I would say most people, when it comes down to it, like most people just want to feel happiness, peace, and love. And honestly, all those feelings just feel the same. It just, all those feelings just, it's like taking your mind away from your taking your attention away from your thoughts. That's it. And that's how you feel it. It's available. It's always available. Just turn our attention towards it. And that's where the practice comes in at. Like, can you turn your attention towards what's aware? Can you turn your attention towards the I am? I'll say that because I feel like that resonates more. Turn your attention towards I am. When you can keep your attention there, it's very easy to stay in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. There's so much gratitude for the experience because it becomes alive. It takes on this different persona. Even the uncomfortable feelings, it's like these are simply sensations, right? And that's what Tony Parsons does, right? He's like, even it's very radical. I won't go there, but his teachings are very radical. Channel suggestions, I would say Rupert. I keep saying Rupert Spira, Muji. Who are some other good ones like non-dual teachers? I feel like I try to keep it simple and not go to too many teachers, but I really like them. Ram Dass. Oh my God, how did I forget Ram Dass? I feel like Ram Dass does this in a beautiful way. He combines these teachings of like being in the world but not of the world in a beautiful way. Like, I love Ram Dass. He's not alive anymore, but he has so many teachings out there. I like to focus on being whole, which naturally brings you to the one or the God state. Exactly. So yeah, love Ram Dass. Um, who are more chat? Y'all got some suggestions, or chat over here? Y'all got some suggestions for people who are able to combine this in a beautiful way that's very attainable and that's very easy to understand. I would say Ram Dass. Michael Singer, thank you. Michael Singer, I listen to Michael Singer all the time. Love Michael Singer. Ramesh, I haven't heard of him. Okay, I haven't heard of him. But yes, love Michael Singer. That's another really good one. I I think that they really talk about the non-dual aspect of reality, which is like there isn't two, there's just the one, but in a beautiful way. Anna Brown, if you're a creative, oh baby, I'm a creative. Let me and I gotta make sure. I'm pretty sure the comments are gonna stick on here. But yeah, let me keep that. Oh, I've seen her. No. I know who Anna Brown is. Yes. Yeah. There's a lot of and Foster, Jeff Foster. He's another one. He's another. I love Jeff Foster. I like to learn from different cultures and see what is the common thread. Me too. Me too. Which is why I became really interested in Eastern philosophy, just like all philosophies in general. But like Alan Watts really put me on. Oh, Terrence McKenna. He did a lot of psychedelics, but and very analytical. I would say but very eloquent. I love the way he speaks about the nature of reality. I was listening to a lot of Terrence McKenna a couple months back. I don't know why I stopped though. I go through phases with teachers, but love Terrence McKenna. Neville Goddard, of course. Um, Wayne Dyer is really good. Ever since I was a kid, I really resonated with the indigenous and Eastern beliefs. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Yeah, when I was a kid, I'm grateful because I was exposed to I wouldn't say like a lot of religions, but it was all kind of centered around like the Abraham religion, like the one God. But they had like different teachings, different dogmas. So like I remember being a kid and I was like, well, who's right? I asked my mom that. I said, who's right? And she said, oh, I don't know, because my mom had like so much religious trauma. She never like beat me into any type of one religion. Even though I don't think she would ever say that, like that she was traumatized by religion, but I'm sure that's what it was because she kind of grew up in this like whatever. I'm not. That's my mom's story if she ever want to tell it, but I didn't grow up like super indoctrinated in religion, and it allowed me to ask questions, to have disbeliefs, and to like really forge my own path, starting at a very young age, and to even go down the path of like I only believe in science. I got into that phase for a while. Like, only science is real, and from there, I was like, well, really, it was the psychedelics. I will be, even though like I started to like open my mind, like open my consciousness, because I was like, everything is just energy, right? I got to that point of like everything is just energy, and I knew it was something mystical behind it, but I couldn't like quite put it into words, and I didn't want to say God because all I had was like the Christian understanding of God. So I was like, this isn't like a man in the sky type thing, but there's something there. So maybe I wasn't atheist. I would say I was like agnostic. And I was like, there's something there, but I don't know what it is. So I'm not just gonna like accept no Christian God. I'm gonna allow, like, I'm gonna like seek my own understanding. And like I did LSD for the first time, and I was like, and it wasn't even like a lot. It was just this like very subtle feeling where I was like, oh, God is real. And I remember I just kept saying it over and over. I was like, God is real, God is real, God is real. And then like, I kept trying to chase that. And then I came across like all these teachings. I came across like Terrence McKenna, and I started listening to like Alan Watts. I watched that movie Samadhi, and I was just like, thank God for YouTube, right? Because I just like dove into all of these teachings, and then I started like meditating. I started listening to like the Power of Now, and I started meditating, and I realized through meditation, when I first got into meditation, I was having the same experiences that I was having from psychedelics. Not like the visuals and stuff, but as far as like the body and like this knowing. And I was like, oh, I need to meditate. Like meditation is it. I need to start meditating because this is the same like reassurance that I have from psychedelics. Um, and then I stuck with that. And then I really got into like non-duality, and then I started to like have these dissolutions of the self. In Zen, they're called kensho, where you have these glimpses of like the self dissolving, where like everything just becomes one. So I would like have these kensho experiences where there would be no self, there was just awareness, and I was like, but they wouldn't last long. So then I just started chasing that, and even that was like keep preventing me from experiencing it, from just experience. Like I was constantly chasing these experiences. And I said, oh, it's not an experience, it's my nature. And I mean, still trial and error, right? Still, there's still this like yearning, this yearning for the beloved. As Tony Parsons would say, I'm Latino and was technically baptized and moved around a lot, living in Chinese neighborhoods for 3 years before I was 5. Oh wow! Even as a child, I questioned that. If you don't believe in church systems of God, how can all these people go to hell? It didn't add up to me. Yeah, me either. Me either. Yeah, I would, and at a young age too, I had like these dreams. I would always have like reoccurring dreams, and I thought that was odd. Then I started having like lucid dreams. I thought that was odd. And then I would try to talk to my family about it, and they was like, "Oh, it's just a dream." And I said, "Yeah," but I was like aware that I was dreaming. And they're like, "Oh, that doesn't matter." And I said, "Okay, I'm a kid." And then I had that experience, heart memories. Oh, I love that, Lydia. Heart memories. I love that. Yeah, but then I was a kid, and then when I was in like 6th grade, I think I had my first like astral projected out of my body, and then I also had experience like sleep paralysis, and I was terrified. I thought I was about to die because I could just see myself on the couch. I was like upside down on the couch. I fell asleep like that, and I could see myself. I could see myself while at the same time I was like trying to move my body, and I was trying to talk. And I just remember I had just like I had just accepted that I was dead. I was like, I'm dead. And I was like, and I started talking to God, and I was like, God, tell my mom and my dad I love them. And I said, this is it. I'm dead. Like I'm dead. And then all of a sudden I started being able to like move my limbs and stuff. And I ran in my mom's room and I turned on her lights. She's like, what are you doing? And I said, I said, I just want to sleep in here. I was so scared. And then the next day I was like, I tried to tell her about it, and she said, that's just a dream. And I said, okay, but that's just a dream. Don't worry about it. And I said, okay. But then it happened again. And this time I was like trying to get myself out of it. And I went online and I said, and I just typed in like everything that was going on with me. I said, I can't move. I'm awake, but I can't talk. And at that time it said a witch riding your back. That was what I found. And it was like, if it happens again, just say a whole bunch of curse words. So like it just kept like it would just happen to me over and over, and I just started cursing, and I just started saying curse words, and that would help me get out of it. But then I realized the older that I got, I realized that one, it was called sleep paralysis. Two, it was called like astral projection. Three, that if you just calm down, you can control it. So like I had to learn these things on my own. Imagine if we had a culture that um, nurtured these things, that didn't just write them off and say, "Oh, that's just a dream." Imagine if my mom, and no fault to her, it's like the society we grew up in. But imagine if like my mom had, she could coach me through that experience, or she could take me to an elder that could coach me through that experience. Because since then, I realized that I had a very deep connection with the astral realm, and I would like, and of course, imagination creates realities. So like, I would see something in my imagination, like in the dream world, and at that point, I was like constantly journaling my dreams, and because somebody said to do it, they said if you can like lucid dream and do all that, and you're not trying, then that's like a gift. So I was like, okay, let me work with this. So I started journaling all the time, journaling my dreams. I wake up in the morning, journal my dreams, and before you knew it, it was a lot of similarities with my reality in the dreams. And I said, man, and I haven't did that in a while. I probably should get back to it. I just haven't. But I was like, imagine if this was nurtured. Yes, the new earth, exactly. Holding the frequency for that, and not seeing it as weird or just a dream, or seeing it as, just writing it off. Because for me, I was like, oh, I'm just odd. And like something's, and this is like, yeah, a weird thing. And I'm weird and whatever. Not realizing that that's actually a gift to be able to hold that. So anyway, the older that I got, I was able to not become afraid because before I would get really scared when I would become lucid in a dream. I'll be like, yo, why am I here? Like I know for a fact that my body is somewhere sleeping. Why am I here? And I would just start freaking out. And until I got back into my body, and I was like, I don't ever want that to happen again. And then it would keep happening. So I was like, okay, I got to figure out how to deal with this. And then I came into like spirituality and stuff. So then I was like, okay, everything is love. So like now, when that happens, there's still fear. Like I have not mastered it, but I just like, everything is love. Everything is love. Everything is love. And then from there, I can like become grounded in the dream, and then I can like control it per se. I haven't mastered the controlling it, but I have a lot of control in the dream, I would say. But I feel like I only remember like 5-10% of my dreams. I would say if you can, it's a practice like anything else. Like if you train yourself to start being able to remember your dreams, I think you would become much better at it. Much better at it. But it's definitely a practice. Like I want to be able to lucid dream on wheel. Like I don't know how to do that. It kind of just happens. And it's just like, oh, that was cool. That was a cool experience. And y'all know sometimes I have so. This is woo woo, but whatever. We here with it. We here with it. But sometimes I have like, okay, in a dream when you become a lucid, like you just know. Like I have those same experiences here in the waking state, where it's just this knowing. Like, but then I talk myself out of it. I'm like, no, Taylor. This is not a dream. Like this is not a dream. Hi, Alexis. Hi, Alexis. But no, I tell myself, I'm like, no, this is not a dream. This is not a dream, right? I try to talk myself out of it because it scares the crap out of me. But it's that same feeling. It's that same feeling I get in dreams where I'm becoming lucid. I'm like, no. And I don't know. I just like it's important to start to lean more into these things instead of like running away from them. And that's my ultimate like vision for all of us, is that like, sure, let's manifest the material things, but more than anything, let's rise up in consciousness. Dr. Joseph Murphy, I talk about this book all the time, The Wheels of Truth. This is one of the first books he ever wrote, and it was too woo-woo for the time. People were like, yo, I can't get with this. It was like way too out there. And then after that he started writing other books, and then came the Power of the Subconscious Mind. But one of the first books he ever wrote was called The Wheels of Truth. And he talked about some things that most people would be like, yo, I can't get with this. He talked about how, like flying, talking about how we have the ability to, like, he was like, why would you care about cars when you can teleport? Why would you care about flying? Yeah, why would you care about getting on the airplane, manifesting airplane tickets when you could teleport? And he told the story about this guy who he was like meditating, and like this woman, she was looking for her husband. She was like, I really want to talk to my husband. I haven't seen him. He hasn't been returning my calls. So the guy went into meditation. Also, autobiography of a yogi. These are not new terms, right? All of these things are not new. The book is called The Wheels of Truth. The Wheels of Truth by Dr. Joseph Murphy. But just so anyways, the wife went to this guy who was a mystic. Let's just call him a mystic. And she said, I'm worried about my husband. He's in Paris. I haven't talked to him. He's not returning my calls, and I'm worried about him. Whatever. Like, can you see what's going on? Can you tell me if he's okay? So she watched him, and he was just meditating. He was simply sitting there meditating. But he went to Paris. He talked to her husband, and he said, hey, you need to call your wife and whatever. And like, so anyways, the husband ended up calling his wife or sent a letter. I don't remember the story 100%. It was like, this man came to me and he told me that I should contact you. And she was like, how is that possible? I literally sat here and saw him. I saw his body. To her, he was meditating. He looked like he was meditating. But the man was able to see his physical body. So Dr. Joseph Murphy was saying that this is what's possible. He was saying we're going to be building castles in the sky. And I remember the first time I read that, I was like, yo. And I feel like even now, people are like, dang, can I just manifest the house first? Can I just manifest the lover? Can I just manifest, the car? I think about all that, but it's just showing what's possible, And for me, that's like the goal. The goal is to go beyond all of this. I feel like that's pyramids were built. You said my friend told me he had a dream where night where he spent decades in another life and had a family and everything was suddenly awoken by his parents to go to a dentist appointment. Exactly, because time is totally altered. Time is one way. Y'all know another channel y'all should follow. Let me look up his name. I think his name is like Third Eye Tyrone. Have y'all ever heard of his channel? He does like the way he talks about and he breaks down. Third Eye Tyrone. Let me see if that's him. Yep, that's his name. Look up Third Eye Tyrone. He does a beautiful job with breaking down just like how the time and patterns and in the way that our brain is interacting. That's an audio reading. Wait, what you mean that's an audio reading? But yeah, he does a really great job of just like breaking down how like because we operate in three-dimensional space, how it's altering our perception of like time and everything. Great channel, check him out. Great channel. And he always says like no schizo because the ideas are just so out there. The link. Wait, what link? The story sounds like something that happened in Doctor Strange too when they were dream walking. And also, the autobiography of a yoga, the autobiography of a yogi by I can't think of, and I feel like I'm gonna say it wrong. So let me, and I feel like I'm still gonna say it wrong even if I look at the name. The autobiography of a yogi. Yogananda. I'm just gonna say the last name. Have you ever heard that book, The Autobiography of a Yogi? Oh, your link. Okay. I don't see the link. Yogananda. Thank you for putting that right there. Okay, yeah. So Yogananda was talking about how he, was around this guy and he was able to be two places at once, right? So this is when you really go into like energy work because all of it is just like energy. So like this is, I would say that step one is like knowing thyself, knowing who we really are, and then implementing the practices of like law of assumption or like comedic yoga. Like there's so many yoga practices. There's another yoga practice that I feel like is like really popular right now. But when you know thyself, start to implement all these practices, you can really start to play and notice how I say play in this world of like form and all of these dimensions. And like that's my ultimate goal for all of us is to awaken to our like Christhood, like Christ consciousness, to like go beyond but of course I want you to manifest the things to see how powerful you are. But even in that, like go higher, like new earth, right? what can we really do? We are so magnificent. We are, we are, whatever we think about ourselves, we are more than that. So that's why I like Eastern philosophy too, is because it really points to, the different things. And even, there are some teachers though that say don't get caught up in that, because even that is Maya. It's all Maya. But again, it's balance. It's balance. Because even Ram Dass, he'll say, like, yeah, sure. Ram Dass talks about all these, like, there's so many experiences. Like myself, again, I've never experienced anything like that, I would say, in my waking state, but in my dream state, I've had so many experiences where, again, you become lucid, and then you go to others and you try to, and you lucid without like any doubt in your mind, and you go to others and you try to explain to them. Or I've had people try to, harm me, and then I remember, like, wait a minute, I'm dreaming, and then I say everything is love. Like that's always my go-to. My go-to is always everything is love, everything is love. So I say everything is love, and then from there, everything shifts, and the same thing happens in a waking state too. It's just, I don't know why the conviction isn't as strong here, and I think it has to do with like just the conditioning. But everything is like everything is love. It's all love. Going to Mars or the moon, or even the Harry Potter desire reality. What is that called? Is it like reality trans? Is that reality transurfing or reality shifting or something like that? I know what you're talking about. I once had this, and maybe I should even like say dreams, because I'm just aware remote viewing shifting. Yeah, yeah. I I had this, like, I was like in space, and I was terrified because it was like, the planets, they were huge, and I was just floating through space, going in between the planets, and I was like, yo, what is happening? So like I feel like what we call dreams are just shifting, because they're just as real, especially when we become conscious in them. They're just as real as what's happening here. I would say probably even more real, because we're so conscious. There's a place on the East Coast called the Monroe. Yes, I have a friend. And you know what, my friend, I love him, and he's actually, my coach as well. He's my spiritual coach, and like non-dual teaching. And he gave me my homework for this week. Is he told me to look at my hand, and he said, what's the question? Oh man, y'all on here too. I'm Instagram, dang. I don't have a MacBook. I can't pull up my questions. But he pretty much asked me to like look at my hand and to like question, like, what is it that's twisting my wrist? And I was like, well, I'm twisting my wrist. And then he told me to go deeper into that, right? That's my homework. Non-dual teacher. But he went through the Monroe Institute, and he started like, being able to, remote view and like astral project and all that. And he was like, yeah, no. he I don't know why, but he was like, it wasn't for him. He said he was like, it's just more stuff to get entangled with the mind. He's like, go to the truth. But me and him, we differ there. I love him, and like I respect him as a teacher, but he's more so like, leave it all alone, go to the truth, remain in the light. And I'm like, how about that? Like how about living in the duality, and he feels like I have this attachment to the material world, whatever. This is my story. This is my path. Because I feel like I'm more so, I like to be in the world but not of the world. Where he's more so like, forget the world, go to the truth, go to the self. And I feel like you can go to the self while also being in the world. Like, sure, the consequence of that is forgetting who you are and suffering. But for me, I don't think that's like a huge consequence when you know who you are. Exactly. That's me. I think we're here to experience the material world. And I don't think that he denies the experience of the material world. I just think that he sees the trap in it. He's like, the trap is the act of suffering. The trap is, for forgetting who you are. And for me, I'm like, it's like this eternal game of hide and seek, right? It's this eternal game of remembering and forgetting, So what's the point of incarnation? I agree. To experience here and now. You're here now for that very reason. I agree, right? I mean, but I still respect him as my coach, and he definitely helped me when it comes to remembering thyself, when it comes to constantly turning my attention towards the truth. Even though we don't agree on ideologies at all, but I mean, there's still love there, right? Because it couldn't be any other way, and that's one thing that allows me to, I would say, have a great relationship with the like manifesting, is that I just trust that it couldn't like it's all working out, and it couldn't be any other way other than what's happening. So like even when things are like seemingly crashing down or going wrong, it's like it couldn't be any, like this is exactly what's supposed to be happening, and it's leading me towards my fulfillment. I add that part, but yeah. Long story short, I really like talking to y'all. I love I mess with y'all for real. But filling is a secret, right? Filling is a secret. Long story short, filling is a secret. And also, I want to let you guys know, for anybody that is interested, I do have group coaching for mainly for creatives. I would say to help creatives. Hey Z, Z's in the Beyond Collective. Z's in the Beyond Collective. I'm about to put a link just um, if anybody is interested. There, this is. I should have pinned this so that y'all know that that's the Beyond Collective. It's group coaching. We do it. I've been doing it every 2 weeks, but I'm about to go into once every week just because I love coming on the calls and talking to, and I grow so much, right? I grow so much. It's like a mastermind. We all come together and we mastermind together to bring our imagination to the world, and it's just like a really beautiful experience, and it's fire so helpful. Yes, Z, yes, yes, yes. So it's really a beautiful experience, and I enjoy it immensely. And then also, I know a lot of you talking about like being triggered. I have a trigger. I created like this 6 week trigger guide, and that's also going to be helpful. And also, again, if you're a creative and you are looking to monetize yourself, right? Let's talk about shifting on the next call. Definitely, definitely. Okay, we're gonna talk about shifting to the next call. I love that. Yes, Alexis is in there too. Alexis is in there too. But if you're a creative and you are wanting to just get over your self doubt, because a lot of times I've been talking to so many like spiritual entrepreneurs over the last couple weeks, and really transurfing, reality transurfing. Yes, I've heard of that too. But I've been talking to a lot of like creatives over the last couple of weeks, and the main thing that's holding them back is like self doubt, and also this fear of like, and I guess that's just the self doubt of like putting themselves out there and marketing themselves and selling themselves. And it's like let's get over that, and let's really put strategy behind what we're doing, and let's show up because you know that what you have is going to help another person. And that's really going to get over your fear of, oh, I don't want to sell. If you know that what you are offering is really going to change somebody's lives, you're not selling to them, you're selling for them. And a lot of times there has to be a paywall for people to take it serious, because a lot of times and y'all know, y'all have so much free information and y'all know all these things, but because it's so free, you take it for advantage. Not everybody, but I would say most people, because it's free, they take advantage of it. It's not until there's some type of like pressure, or it's like, oh, a consequence per se, that people that they hold themselves accountable. Like, I paid for this, and I need to put the work in. And for me, it's like I don't like wasting my time, especially because I know this stuff works. So and I want everybody else to feel that same exact way about what you do, even if you're just a creative. I talk to a lot of like business owners who sell clothes. That's beautiful. They want to build like brick and mortars. That's beautiful. I would say most of my clients, that they want to do like YouTube, or they're like starting on Instagram, or they want to build a platform, then they want to sell their services. And there's just so much doubt, and there's so much like fear around the like selling process, the marketing process. So that's something that I've transitioned to really helping creatives with, and I feel like I do that very well. I've been on like I've built a pretty good following on TikTok. I built a decent following on Instagram, but I've had like videos do really well and built beautiful community on Instagram. I'm doing the same thing on YouTube. So, and all of it with imagination. That's the main thing. Like strategy and all of that goes into it, but mainly it's like working with your imagination. But I'm a strategy girl. I'm a business girl. I love talking that talk. So definitely will also get that as well. But yeah, I think that's all I got, guys. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I want to do this more. Um, but I'm not gonna say when and where. Just know I love y'all. And follow me on Instagram too. Follow me on Instagram because I post a lot over there. I'm always posting on stories. I'll be yapping. And on TikTok too. I feel like on TikTok it's like very not structured. So sometimes I just open the camera. I'm about to start getting back on TikTok and just talking. It's very relaxed over there. So yeah, that's all I got. I love y'all. Thank y'all for sticking with me. I'm about to go enjoy my birthday. What time is it? 3 o'clock? Yeah. I'm about to go enjoy my birthday, go live in love, go live in truth, and stay in gratitude. And yeah, happy manifesting and happy realizing who you truly are. Power to the people. All right, I love y'all. Bye, bye, bye. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's your birthday. It is. Thank you. Bye, everybody. Bye. Thank you, bye.